Welcome to my channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Problems of maritime transport. Many problems are with shipping in general in Latin America and Caribbean. Although a number of them also occur in the industrialized countries, most arise because this is a developing region. Some of these difficulties are inherent in traditional structures such as cargo imbalance and instability in certain traffics, but others are caused by institutional woes whose solution depends on the will to act of the countries involved. Among the latter are the excessive paperwork and red tape that burden merchant vessels, and consular intervention in trade and transport that slows down port operations and makes them more expensive, thereby delaying international traffic and increasing cost. Imbalances in the volume and types of cargo. In general, exports from bilateral countries are over 4 times the tonnage of their imports, with the broader complication that the composition of cargo groups also varies considerably. It to harmonize and coordinate shipping. And then instability of some traffics. Cargo imbalance often goes hand in hand with traffic instability, which is caused by the reliance on external markets that developing countries are not in position to control, by natural variations in domestic production, or by government decisions beyond the control of shipping companies. And then rising tendency of conference rates. As has been pointed out, Latin American countries have repeatedly expressed their concern in different international forums over the constant increases in shipping conference rates and the adverse consequences of the rate structure, especially due to the practice of establishing a single rate for a range of ports over several countries. The system is unfair for ports that have invested large sums to improve their infrastructure or have made an effort to overcome institutional problems. The conferences are quick to establish surcharges for port congestion, but they don't give discounts or bonus or rates when a port shows a marked increase in its productivity. Port of deficiency. Port of deficiencies may be material or physical in nature, or they may be institutional, as noted in Chapter 6. Among the former are lack of breath space, shallowness or seating, silting, lack of suitable cargo handling equipment, lack of space for container manipulation and storage, and congestion caused by lack of land access to maritime terminals. The solution to these material problems require time and resources. It should be remembered that most Latin American ports are public and thus depend on tax revenues for investment in infrastructure and equipment. However, port authorities in the region have responded energetically to this challenge. Markedly improvement terminal in the last quarter century so they can meet the demands of modern transport technology, such as the use of containers and vessels specializing in united transport. Problem of an institutional nature include obsolete and inadequate legislation for dealing with unidentified cargo, different hours of work for different sectors, excess paperwork and formalities that slow down port operation and customer producers and make them more expensive, and labor problems such as inefficiency, work stoppage, strikes, slowdown, and etc. In some parts in the region, this situation is aggravated by obsolete practices for receiving vessels, lack of administrative flexibility in solving emergency situations, and in some cases, disorganizations, labor discipline, and even robberies and theft in port areas. Another factor is level and structure of port fees, established with an eye to profit without considering that a port is not a profit-seeking commercial company, but a cargo transport station on the service of vessel and goods. Next, excess paperwork and red tape. Another serious problem that affects shipping in various countries in the regions is excess paperwork and red tape for vessels and their cargoes. Documentary requirements help to increase shipping costs unnecessarily and to delay the dispatch of vessels and their cargoes. At the same time, they constitute an unnecessary workload which causes inconvenience and loss of time for the port. Customs health and other authorities that demand these books, check them, send them on the another branch, or simply violate them as being of no further use. One proof how futile many of the requirements are is the fact that airport authorities, whose functions are similar to those of port authorities, require considerably fewer documents for the reception of aircraft and their cargoes. Also, over the last quarter of the century, industrialized nations without exception have eliminated most of the formalities they once required for vessel import. Among all the unnecessary demands and shipping, the one caused perhaps the greatest inconvenience, delay and increase in cost in consular intervention in the dispatch of vessels and the import of goods. This practice is a relic of medieval times when each maritime expedition was a true adventure with the risk of real or fictitious loss of cargo that made it necessary for the consul of the importing country to board on an incoming vessel and check its cargo deficit. Today, the consular visa represents a useless and burdensome bureaucratic procedures, since it is usually impractical and in many cases physically impossible for consular agents to actually verify the goods themselves. They are thus certifying a fact they do not know and that would be impossible, if not absurd, for them to know, for which they generally charge a great deal in addition to delaying dispatch of ship and cargo. In traffic between neighboring countries, it often happens that consular documents fail to arrive before the ship, which must wait further before it can begin unloading, with the consequent unnecessary increasing in transport cost. Over the last 3 decades, international intergovernmental and private agencies, including the OAS, ECLAD, the General Agreement on Trade and Traffic or GATT, ONMO, the International Civil Aviation Organization or CIO, and LILA, as well as the International Chamber of Commerce, the International Chamber of Shipping, and the Baltic and International Maritime Council have conducted an active campaign to solve this problem. This international action has led to the elimination of many formalities related to trade in general and to air transport, but there is still much to be done with regard to water transport. The industrialized nations have completely done away with consular visas for all trade and transport, while the Latin American countries have almost completely abolished visa requirements for aircraft and airfreight. They still apply them to vessel and seaborne trade, with an exception of Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Venezuela. With regard to consular formalities for the commercial invoice, the only 6 countries in the world that continue to apply them are Bolivia, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Honduras, Panama, and Uruguay. But doing away with this formality does not solve the problem affecting transport when consular visas for cargo, manifest, and bills of lading are not eliminated at the same time. The argument that this form of consular intervention is indispensable in order to control the application of cargo reserve legislation is invalid. The Latin American countries that maintain this protectionist measure, with the exception of Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, have not needed recourse to their consular agents to ensure that the legislation is applied. Central bank stamps on import and export license and checks by customs officials on these requirements are sufficient. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.